What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Timeless Movie Podcast, episode number 74. My name is Victor Vasquez. Thank you so much for joining me on another movie discussion where we talk about a new film that we checked out in theaters. We decided whether, it's timeless, what are some pros and cons, and really an overall breakdown of the film with some mild spoilers. I am super excited to talk about this week's movie, and there's going to be actually a lot of emotions running through us because that's right, we're going to be talking about Inside Out 2 by Pixar. It is the sequel, the follow-up to 2014's Inside Out. And I'm going to be honest, it's been some time since I've seen Inside Out, the first film, but I remember really enjoying that experience. I thought it was very unique, and pretty much Pixar gives really, really good confidence when you watch a film just because they have such a great collection of different types of stories that they've been able to pull off, and a lot of them have been really good. So again, I really enjoyed Inside Out, and as soon as I saw the trailer for some of Inside Out 2, it got me even more pumped. So let's go ahead and dive into some of my overall thoughts now that I was able to check it out in Dolby Cinema on opening night. All right, overall, after checking it out, I had a really great time with this film. Pixar, again, has a great record when it comes to putting out these quality stories and some great animation. Now, again, I'm going to say, are all of Pixar movies excellent and top-notch? No, maybe not all of them. Again, it's very subjective, but I can say that after leaving the theaters, after watching Inside Out 2, I had a smile on my face. I enjoyed the experience. I had a lot of fun, so I really liked Inside Out 2 overall. It picks up right after the first one, following the main character, Riley. She is now 13 years old, and of course, as soon as we get into our teens, what do we talk about? We are going to be talking about puberty. And so with puberty comes new emotions, new things that kids start experiencing. And it was a great way to follow up from the original Inside Out film is, again, well, how do we kind of top this, right? We've introduced all these different types of emotions like joy, anger, sadness, fear. And so how do we do that to kind of make it a little bit unique and different? Well, we kind of bring the character of Riley into her teen years, and we introduce anxiety, we introduce embarrassment, we introduce boredom, we introduce all these different things. And I think what really made me appreciate this film is how relatable it is. Relatable to teens that are going through it right now, even if they probably don't see it at the moment, and to even parents that are taking their kids, because again, everybody goes through puberty, and so everybody experiences these different types of emotions, and again, it's because of how relatable it is, it just makes that viewing experience of this movie even much more of a cool journey throughout the entire film following Riley. So I really appreciated that. I will say, and because of this is a sequel to Inside Out, you obviously kind of think about the comparisons between the two films. I will say that the biggest difference between Inside Out and Inside Out 2, not only considering that it's different story and different emotions, but it's also not as emotional as the first film. I feel like the first film had a lot of different key moments that, would just very tearjerker moments, made you cry. And again, I'm not saying that Inside Out 2 had to be that, but it's a different type of emotion, right? There's a lot of fun being had in this film by Riley and the different emotions as well. And there's definitely some things that kind of make you think about, like, what did I do in my experience? So again, it's a very different type of a point of view in this film. So again, to me, not as emotional, not as something that's going to really make you kind of cry in that kind of sense, at least not to me. It's very subjective. But again, it's still told a really cool story overall. Again, because it's relatable, all humans go through this, right? So there's some type of emotion that you're going to feel around this film as well. So a great, great follow-up to Inside Out from 2014. I had a fun time watching Inside Out 2. I think this is a great segue to then jump into some of my pros to kind of elaborate a little bit more as to why I like this film. First pro is the new emotions that joined the OG team. So like I had mentioned, we had these characters from the first film like disgust, joy, anger, fear, and sadness. The same gang is there, and they're still, again, just as funny, but we now get introduced to the new emotions like anxiety, or you have characters like embarrassment, boredom, envy. And so these new characters now join in, and I really like the dynamic that they had with the OG group. you immediately get the sense as to, okay, something's got to give, right? Not all of these emotions can live in Riley's head. One group has got to really get bounced out, and that's kind of what happens in this film. You have these characters like Anxiety who want to control every aspect of Riley's life and prepare her so that she doesn't get embarrassed, so that she doesn't fail in any way. And so basically they try to plot every single scenario and what if before it even happens. And again, in Anxiety's thoughts, she thinks that she's doing the right thing, when in reality, everything's going to backfire. And it's just all this different stuff. So how they integrated these new emotions was really well done for me. Again, I appreciated it. And then they weren't as similar to the OG team. Again, everyone had their own specific type of style, whether, again, it was the character of boredom or envy or anxiety or embarrassment. They all had their own moments within the film. Not too much. That way they didn't bloat the film up a little bit too longer than it should have been. But every emotion kind of gets a little bit to kind of shine with the character of Riley. All right, moving on to my second pro. I really love the overall message that this film and what it was trying to say. Now, with a lot of Pixar films, they do, again, a great job to give off, one key message that it's trying to send to not only kids, but even to adults and young adults as well. In this film, the idea of Inside Out 2 was around your self-belief, really, your own beliefs and your own self-identity, and really how our memories and what we go through in life ends up building up that type of self-identity. What I appreciated most, though, is that, especially when you kind of start growing up, you start kind of ignoring and suppressing all these bad things that happen to you. If you tripped in class, if you ended up dropping something, if people made fun of you, all of these memories that you have as you're growing up, you want to forget these. You want to kind of get these out of your mind. And that's kind of what goes on in the story of Inside Out 2. You have the OG team that really wants to build up Riley and have her have this incredible self-belief. And so they try to eliminate all these memories where maybe she got mad with her friends or got mad at her parents and just try to put in the positive stuff. But what we end up realizing is that who we are is not only made up of the good things that we do, it's actually built off of every single memory that we have. The ones where we cry, the ones where we laugh, the ones where we're mad, when we're embarrassed. All of these memories end up becoming the formula of our self-identity and of our self-belief. And so I really enjoyed how they extracted that and kind of showed that off. Again, not only adding more emotions, but also showing, hey, we can't just suppress, we can't just ignore these bad things or these other types of emotions we were feeling as we grew up. We need to really combine all of these memories, because all of these memories will shape us into the person that we want to be. And sometimes that might change. Sometimes you want to be a good person. Sometimes you want to be a very passionate person. Sometimes you just want to be very disciplined. Sometimes you want to be very assertive. And so, again, there's ever evolving and ever changing memories and emotions that we all go through as humans. So really well done by Pixar to put out this kind of a message, again, of like self-identity and self-belief and how that can kind of get molded by the world around us by good and bad memories. All right, last pro that I have about Inside Out 2 is I actually thought the film really nailed the parts between sharing how the emotions inside Riley's head are doing or what their actions are, and then flipping to Riley, as the human character, and then doing and executing what the emotions are trying to control within her head. Again, they did that really well in Inside Out, the first film in 2014. And then in this film, they do the exact same thing. It's just very clean cuts where you have somebody at the console of Riley's head pushing all these buttons, and then it immediately goes to Riley, and then she ends up, starting to do some type of a weird thing. What was so funny in this film is that, again, because she is going through puberty, she wants to fit in with some of the high school girls of the hockey team. And so you have these emotions like anxiety and embarrassment, who ends up trying to make her do certain things. And then Riley ends up, again, making a fool of herself. People start laughing at her. And again, it's just the way that they cut between the emotions and Riley was just, again, very well done. And it's balanced at a good rate, where you're not getting too much of the emotions taking over the movie, and you're also not getting too much of Riley. You're getting both sides at a good pace. And so I really enjoyed that, again, because it could definitely get tricky, especially with how much people really enjoyed the first Inside Out and how much the emotions really added a lot to the story. But they balanced everything very well, and it's a big pro for me. All right, moving on to cons of the film. I be honest, maybe there's only one big thing, not even a big thing. It's just one little aspect where during the second act of the film, you have the OG emotions who basically are kicked out of Riley's head. They are sent away by the new emotions because the new emotions feel like, hey, you guys did a good job up to the teens for Riley, but now it's our turn to take over during puberty. And so the OG team now has to basically retrieve the self-belief that Riley had in the film. It ended up getting removed by this new team. And so the whole goal of the OG emotions is to retrieve that self-belief and put it back into the console. There's a certain part where they are going through what's called a brainstorm, and it's literally a storm that is occurring in Riley's brain about different types of ideas that are going on. And they are having to try to escape this specific type of brainstorm. What was so weird to me and kind of confused me a little bit is they escaped this type of a brainstorm, but their whole goal was to try to get this self-belief. But for some reason, most of the OG emotions decided, hey, let's just find any way to get out of here and forget the self-belief. And they kind of just try to go up a specific route in order to get back to the console. And I feel like they completely forgot that, hey, well, our whole mission is to get this and reclaim this self-belief. But it was just forgotten for this one moment. Again, a very small nitpick, not something that's going to take me out of the movie. I just found it very confusing as to like, oh, well, hey, weren't you going this way to try to find the self-belief, but now you're trying to find a different route just to get back to the console? Like, how is that going to help the mission? How is that going to help with Riley's self-belief at the end of the day? So again, just a small little thing. It definitely went over my head. I'm pretty sure if you guys have seen Inside Out 2, let me know down below in the comments. Did you feel that when you saw the brainstorming scene? And if you did, and if it didn't confuse me, let me know. I definitely feel like it's just mostly on me. I just felt like it was kind of like oh, well, that doesn't make sense. They're trying to go find this specific self-belief, but now they're just ignoring it? Like just a personal thing on my side. Other than that, there's not really much that I can come up with cons in regards to making me not like this experience of Inside Out 2 any less. I thought it was, again, a great film. Loved the message and loved the entire animation of it as well. I know that I didn't call that out, but it's pretty obvious. Pixar has their animation just on lock. It is always very crisp and clean. I do want to talk a little bit about my favorite performance of the movie. And I got to call out the one emotion that I enjoyed the most, and that is actually anxiety, one of the newer emotions. Anxiety is actually played by Maya Hawke. I actually had to look it up because I did not pick up her voice when she was doing that character. It was until after when I told my girlfriend, who was the voice of anxiety? And she's like, oh, it's Maya Hawke. And I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. She did such a great job because, as you would expect, anxiety has this type of rate of how they talk, almost as if you're listening to me, right? I talk very fast, and that's exactly what anxiety did in the film. She would, again, try to talk very quickly, very energetic, was always worried about, okay, what's going to come next? And so it was such a funny interaction when she would talk to some of the OG characters like Joy. Again, she was just trying to do her best to control Riley and make sure, hey, I don't want you to feel embarrassment. I don't want you to go through this. I don't want you to go through that. So I need to do anything in my power to control every situation and plan for any situation. And again, that's what anxiety does to us, right? It ends up putting us in this type of situation where, again, we try to think about, okay, I can't fail at this, I can't fail at that, everything is at stake. And eventually it leads to having a panic attack. And that's exactly what happened in the movie. They pulled off, which was, I think, a great representation of what not only teens, but really even adults go through when we're too much in our heads, when we're too much trying to plan out what could go wrong or what can we do to control these types of things. And this kind of leads me into my favorite moment. How they portrayed that anxiety attack was really well done. And again, I want to make sure that I sound, and say this and articulate it in a good way. I'm not saying that, oh, I love that Riley got an anxiety attack. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to describe is the way that they portrayed within Riley's head about having this panic attack and then showing Riley have that panic attack. I think they just animated that and they did all that kind of piece of it so well. And like they again, to me, how they presented it was just, again, a great way to show kids like, hey, you can't control everything, right? You can't go through life trying to anticipate and expect to plan out every situation and come out successfully, because it's just not going to happen. You can't control every aspect of your life. And I think the team at Pixar and that people that made Inside Out 2, they nailed it with that scene. They showed, again, what was going on in Riley's head. Anxiety was trying to control everything. And even she starts going crazy. She's losing control of the entire console. And she's just going in circles, circles, circles. And Joy has to bring her back. And what ends up happening as she's going in circles, you have Riley in her life basically holding her chest. And she's just freaking out. She doesn't know what to do. She'd never had a panic attack. And so how they just showed that all in the film was, again, to me, really well done. I again, not saying that I liked that she had a panic attack, just that I really liked how they represented that in the film. And just to show, again, you can't control everything in your life. There's things that you just have to just let go of the wheel, right? Things are going to happen that you just cannot control. And you just got to do your best to stay calm, breathe, and just not let it affect you too much. And so, again, I enjoyed that whole scene. So one big congratulations to Maya Hawke. She had my favorite character and performance, and she also was a part of my favorite scene, along with other emotions as well, but really well done. Overall, guys, as you can probably tell, I really enjoyed this film, and I would definitely recommend everyone go watch this one in theaters. Again, you could watch it in Dolby, regular, IMAX, whatever it might be, but definitely take out, especially if you have kids, I think they're going to enjoy it. If you have teens that they're willing to go, feel free to have them check out to just kind of get prepared for these different emotions that they're going to be feeling. But I really feel like this is, again, a wide range of an audience that can watch this film. I definitely enjoyed it. And again, I think you guys will too. So definitely go ahead and check it out. And if you have checked it out, let me know down below in the comments what you thought. Did you enjoy it? Did you think it's timeless? Well, let me know down below so we can interact. All right, everybody. Now I want to move into the last segment, which is this film timeless? Can I see myself rewatching this film? I will say, even though I did love this film, I enjoyed the message, I enjoyed the animation, I enjoyed the way that they introduced these new emotions and all these different types of aspects, even the new, the characters that were brought in. It was, I forgot to say one thing too. It's hilarious. There's like a lot of funny moments in this film. So all in that to say that I feel like Inside Out 2 has the potential to be a timeless movie. As of today, for me, if you were to tell me, hey, Victor, you're going to add this to your rotation to watch this every year or every other year, I don't think I will at the moment. I definitely, again, would recommend this to friends that would want to watch a movie that, again, maybe comes out on Disney Plus or just to check out in theaters. Definitely recommend Inside Out 2. It's a fun time. Again, it's not just geared towards kids. It's for everybody because of how relatable it is. So again, to me, it has potential to be a timeless movie. Not in my list will it be a timeless movie, but again, that could definitely change as the years go on and as maybe I have kids and that they start watching these films. That can definitely alter my perspective on it. But again, definitely a potential timeless movie. But again, on my list, it currently is not. But what do you guys think? Again, I definitely want to hear your thoughts. Did you check it out? Did you enjoy it? And who was your favorite emotion in Inside Out 2? Let me know down below. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on another discussion. Appreciate all those of you who stayed all the way through. My name is Victor Vasquez. This has been episode number 74 of the Timeless Movie Podcast. Make sure to check out next week's episode as we cover a new film. And that film is actually going to be The Bike Riders. Super excited for that one. That has Jodie Comer, Austin Butler, and Tom Hardy. All right, guys. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you guys later.